Hi and welcome. This is ISMB Virtual Open Day. This is our third edition. My name's Claire and I'm your host for today. I'm British. I'm also a lecturer of the ISMB programme. Today's all about you and making sure that we help you make an informed study choice. So please make sure you ask all your questions because I have a group of people here that are very eager to answer your questions. So we have 3 students and 2 teachers to help us today. So we're going to introduce ourselves. I have Brandy to my right here. Do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. Well, I am Brandy Perry. I'm 18 years old and I come from Germany. I grew up on an American military base in Germany and I'm half Dutch, half American, so it's a very diverse background. And yeah, I'm now living in Amsterdam and enjoying it very much.
What's your sport?
I play tennis and I run track and field, short distance. So, yes.
Okay. Thanks very much. Welcome. And we have Jaap.
Yes.
You're right.
I'm the manager of the program. Lived for many years abroad. Came back to the Netherlands and very happy to work in this program with this beautiful international group of students and lecturers. And well, looking forward to answer your questions.
And what's your favourite sport?
Well, cycling, quite a lot of team sports, and skiing. Yeah. But okay, in the Netherlands that is not possible.
You have to go a bit further afield.
Yeah, no problem at all.
And we have Jona as well off to my left. Do you want to introduce yourself?
I'm Jona, I'm 28 years old. I come from Kuopio, from eastern Finland. I grew up there in Finland pretty much my whole life. I moved here 1.5 years ago, so I'm now a second year student of ISMB.
What's your sport?
I play ice hockey.
Okay. Here?
Yeah, I play in the local student team.
Okay, welcome, thank you. And we have Luca.
Yep, I'm Luca. I come from Sicily. I'm 19 years old. I'm half English, half Italian, as my mum comes from near Manchester. And I decided to move here. Well, I moved here about 6 months ago after actually following this broadcast last year, what you're watching right now. And I kind of like overall all sports, and I'm really enjoying my stay in Amsterdam right now.
That's great. So you watched the Virtual Open Day last year and you asked a question, didn't you? And then I messed up your name completely. I apologise for that. And I'll do the same thing again. I'm sure of it. But so this actually really helped you make your study choice then?
Yeah, following the Virtual Open Day actually cleared my mind a bit more, because some questions for which I couldn't find answers on the internet or on the website, I asked during the open day, and I received answers from you, from the fellow students that now are my second year students, and that definitely helped me choose. It just took me a little more time to clear my mind and say if this was what I really wanted to do, and then I came here.
Great. So we've already got a ton of questions that have come in. The first one's Petar. I don't know which country you come from, so please make sure when you pose a question that you say which country you're from. Wanted to know if this is a Bachelor 4-year course. So, Jaap, would you be able to address this question?
It is a Bachelor 4-year course. And the unique part of it is that we include quite a lot of internship in several periods throughout the program. I think everything together is a little bit 1.5 years. So it means a 4-year bachelor program, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And there's obviously a lot of people still posing questions, and they're from Holland. About half of the questions coming in are from overseas, half of them from Holland. And there's a questions come in from Bart, specifically wanting to ask about the difference between SMNO and ISMB. Is that something that you could also address?
Yeah. Well, the difference is obviously that we speak English within ISMB and Dutch within SMNO, and that SMNO is a Dutch population with a more national context. This is an international context, not only looking at the students coming from several countries, at least 50% comes from other countries than the Netherlands. Currently it's 60% in the first year group, but also the lectures. We're flying in from Australia, America, other countries, and that means that we are not only talking about international subjects, because that is happening also within SMNO, but that we understand what it means when it's taught by an international lecturer as well.
Okay.
So that's the big difference.
That's great. We're going to flip to a video now, and then we'll be back very, very shortly. Please stay tuned, keep asking your questions, and we'll be able to answer those shortly. So watch the video.
I chose for ISMB because I really want to combine sports as well as management.
The uniqueness of ISMB, of course, is the combination of the practical sports with theory.
But it's also the literature that we choose, which comes from lots of different countries.
And of course, the internships. You can go for 3 internships worldwide.
We try and make sure that the students really get out of their comfort zone and step into the shoes of another nationality or another culture or another type of target group that they're not used to. So, welcome back, and we're going to answer a few questions about what influenced your choice, why you chose for ISMB. So, Jono, you want to have a go at answering that?
Well, I'm always been into sports since my whole life. So basically, after high school, after military, which I did in Finland, I started to look for my future profession. It was pretty obvious at some point that I'm definitely going to study sports. At one point, I wasn't sure that whether I want to study more like a training, something like that, coaching. At some point, I decided I want to combine the sports and the business. So that's why I chose ISMB in the end.
What influenced your choice, Luca?
Well, I followed a different course of studies when I was younger. From 13 to 18, I followed a scientific lyceum, which covered different subjects that aren't really related to sport. So I was thinking of maybe being an engineer or going for psychology or something like that. But then I was kind of analysing my personality while I was growing, and I figured that instead I was more interested in sports. So I was willing to do what I loved most and give it a go, see what the outcome was. Now I'm here, I made it into the course, and for now I'm really, really enjoying it.
We also have a question that's coming from Mamila, Cape Town. Thank you very much for your question. Is this course overseas as well? Can you do it also in South Africa? Well, no, not at the moment, not yet.
That's also our dream.
But obviously, this is a course that's extremely international, as we've already spoke about. So. We do have dreams in that regard, right?
Yeah. And one of the other dreams is also that lecturers will have their lectures online. So probably in the future there is a possibility, but not for the graduation. No, not yet.
So, Brandy, what's your favourite class so far that you've been involved in?
My favorite class is probably fitness to music. We did aerobics, and we had to think of a dance, and with a group of 6 of us in our PPD groups, they were called. And it was really great to be able to work together with the rest of my group and make up this dance by ourselves. We found our own music. We actually got to experience a different side of working together. You know, you require a lot of coming together as a group and deciding on things. You have to make a plan of making this dance and such. And I found it really exciting because it was a good connection between sports and, managerial values and such. So I really enjoyed that.
Was that dance? Was that one of your favourites so far, or have you got other favourites?
Well, I really enjoyed the class. I enjoy my class as well as the people that surround me. So it's always a good environment. But probably the class that was most interesting for me was the research class, as we were given a task for the first quarter to write a paper and around the certain Olympics that we could pick out of. And after that, I kind of connected it to some values that I already had. So I studied and researched over something that really interested me. And now I think and I know that I'm more knowledgeable about certain concepts. So when I speak to somebody about it, I actually know my facts more. And that was my favourite part of the year till now.
What about the least favourite?
Well, I don't know. I would have to say maybe economics, finance. That is not my favorite subject, but it's obviously important to know all the basic stuff about this subject. But I wouldn't say that it's my favorite.
So we have a question in from Dennis that kind of relates to this. It's the balance between sports and business subjects throughout ISMB. How is that balance struck, Luca?
Does this mean like the practical and the theoretical subjects? Well, we have the subjects that we do practically are also matter of theoretical study, as we will be doing the subject, but then we'll have to reflect over it. We'll have to, give feedback to people or how we're doing it. So we kind of learn about the sport in the practical area to live it more and to assimilate it more, and then we transfer it to the theoretical value. Instead, the subjects that we only study theoretically, they obviously remain in that field there. So we don't have the practical issue because it's not transferable yet, but probably it's brought for the future to have a greater culture to then transfer it to the practical field of the work world.
Yeah. So there's also another question come in that again relates to that. But what traits does an excellent international sport manager have to have effectively? Is there something you can answer after 1 year of studying? Maybe that's more of a let's say a second year question.
Well, internationality is the most important thing, obviously. I think ISMB is all about versatility. Like, you have a lot of knowledge from sports, all kinds of sports. Then you have the business side also intercultural communication. You know about sports and culture, about different cultures, how sports are present in the different cultures and countries. So it's all about everything in this program.
Okay.
And may I just add
please.
the entrepreneurial part of
definitely.
it? Because I think, at least coming from all the countries where you come from, is a kind of entrepreneurial aspect of your choices. But it is definitely part of the program from day one until the last day. Assignments adjusted to this theme, so it's in all kind of subjects. Yeah.
And we're going to be meeting our entrepreneurship teacher shortly.
Yeah.
He'll be coming to join us. But Henry's obviously from the field, has done an awful lot in business, had his own business. Yeah. Is that also the case with some of the other lecturers, the lecture team? What does the team look like at the moment within ISMB?
It's one of the criterias. I mean, of course, you should have a lecturer license. But being an entrepreneur is part of the criteria. So it means that we have a kind of mix of people coming from all kind of countries, like you from the UK or other people. Definitely have an important link with sports. You have to practice or have to practice sports, and having experience and a kind of entrepreneurial character. And that means that we have people really into the business, making a choice, start teaching at ISMB, or the other way around. And currently we have lecturers full-time on the job, which of course can't have their own business. And we have lecturers with a mix. And especially the last quarter, we are flying in teachers from all kind of countries, especially coming in for their specialty. Yeah,
and you've experienced that obviously in the second in 4A and 4B when you have lecturers coming in.
Yeah.
What sort of countries do they come from? Those lecturers?
We had Bob here. He's a Dutch teacher, but he teaches in Texas, United States, full time. So he basically came here just for a couple of courses to teach us, but. He was an extremely good teacher.
And then we have Emma as well from that's coming over from Australia, and with Sarah from America.
Sarah Chibble, from States.
It's quite a dynamic dynamic period. We're actually going to flip to a video. Make sure you stay tuned, and we'll be back very shortly.
In our program, in the first 2 years, we always have sport practice along with our theory. And in each quarter we got to play different sports, or to practice different sports. And it's not just playing the sport, because we don't get grades for how good we perform, but there's always a background of this sport management, and how the culture of the sport is affecting where the sport is popular and in which countries. So there's always a background of the management and international sport management behind the sports that we do.
Well, I think ISMB places so much focus on practical sports because as a future sport manager, it is very important to get an insight how the athlete you might represent in a future feels, how it is to set goals, how it is to train for your goal.
If I would summarize ISMB, I would be focusing on the 3 disciplines that are high performance sports, sport commerce and sport development. And as well the fact that the study is really focused on sport, but also on the management and business side. And those sports are also used and combined to improve your managemental skills. For example, that we have team sports. So how do you function within a team sport? So that's on the field itself. But also in the same quarter you have lots of group works. So with that, how do you work? Do you act the same within the team on the field, but also within the management? And then individual sports as athletics and dance. But all those sports are used to develop your own skills. So for dance we used presentation skills and actually getting out of your comfort zone.
The highlights of the study so far have been my entrepreneurship experience as well as my internship experience. From both of these I've gotten a lot of chance to put theory into practice, and in that way I've experienced the full extent of the ISMB program.
Yes, entrepreneurship in the ISMB program is really important because the B of ISMB is standing for business. And if you want to make business, you have to have skills for being a great entrepreneur. So in the 3rd year we work with a period of 6 months where the students have to prepare a business plan, and after preparing the business plan they also have to execute their business idea. And in that 2nd period they will meet the boundaries of their skills, because executing something which before was only theory, that's really a tough challenge.
So welcome back, and we've got welcome back. Henry has joined us. So Henry is our lecturer in entrepreneurship. Do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, of course. Well, of course, my name is Henry, and I'm fond on the fact that I love entrepreneurship, because to enterprise, that's a big challenge. You have to transfer everything in your mind to real life. And my goal is to stimulate youngsters, the next generation, to put their mind into real business. And that's what's all about.
What's your sport, by the way?
My sport at this moment is football. And of course, I'm very bad. But man, I have a nice period when I'm with the guys.
So I have a question that's come in that's, I think it's probably you're best to answer this one, but what are some of the career paths? It's come in from Kareem, by the way. Kareem from Abu Dhabi, sorry. What are some of the career paths that an ISMB student can move into after their study?
Well, I think there are a few possibilities. What I always tell the students is that they can go for being an employee somewhere all around the world, but they also can go for their own business. And that business they can find in sports, but also indirectly into sports, because if you like to build a community, you can use sports to get people together.
This is also probably a question for you, but what networks and relationships does ISMB have with the sports world at this moment?
Well, at this moment there is an existing network, and because ISMB is there already for 3 years, that network is getting bigger and bigger. But every year it's improving, and it's a worldwide network, so students can use it for also well, building up their own network.
Jona, your colleagues, your 2nd year students have also gone off on internships, or they're leaving at the moment. In fact, many of them we said goodbye to yesterday. Yeah. So in the 2nd year, you have to do a 10-week internship. One of the students, or one of the prospective students, has asked this question: how does ISMB support students in finding relevant internships? Could you maybe speak to that?
Obviously, the teachers, they have really vast set of connections around the world, with different universities, sport companies, sport organizations. So obviously I will assist you as much as they can. But obviously in the end, you are the one who has to do the most work, and you have to find your own internship place for yourself.
Yeah, proactiveness, that's obviously very, very, very important. Is that something that you can actually learn, you think, during the study, or is that, something that comes out specifically in the entrepreneurship part of ISMB?
Well, everybody can be proactive, and in fact everybody is proactive. The only goal is that you can target your proactiveness in towards the direction
you like to have it. And for youngsters, of course, it's first the challenge to find out where their passion is if they look at their business life. Then second, if they have found their passion, they can be proactive, because that proactiveness will help them to reach their goals and also to create their dream to a real situation.
Yeah, so Tim from Frankfurt, thank you very much for your question. It's kind of related to that. It's ISMB, what types of internships are actually offered at ISMB? Well, there is a database of internships, but maybe, Jona, you could speak to that particular question.
I mean, it's all up to you. I mean, you can choose from anything you want. If you want to work for a sports organization like football club, basketball club, any sports organization, it's up to you. You can choose anything. And if you want to work for example, for Nike, Adidas, or something else, sports clothing company, it's again up to you.
Yeah. So Steve, one of your colleagues, is going off to Nike. You're coaching a number of students in the third year. Where's Juliet going off to on her internship?
Juliet is going to Madagascar. And she will create a commercial consisting of 50 little parts in the movie, which will contain 50 countries who will waving the Madagascarian flag. It's all regarding the World Championship Football of Brazil, and they use the World Championship of Brazil to promote Madagascar as a country you have to go to.
Okay. And obviously you've got another couple of students that you're coaching. Who else?
I also have Mick, amazing guy, and he has a nice internship. He starts his internship in Austria for a few months in the winter, in the snow, snowboarding, skiing, because that's his company is all about. And then he's going to South Africa, doing surfing, goal surfing, because that's also a part of the company he's going for. And then he's going back to Austria to continue his internship. So it's a flyover, very romantic international business, and he is living his dream.
What would your ideal internship be?
Well, because like I mentioned earlier, ice hockey is my sport, so I would like to work in North America for a professional ice hockey club, or something like that.
Wow, okay.
That's definitely the first option.
What sort of thoughts do you have in terms of internship that you like to do?
Well, I kind of already have some ideas, but mainly it's the geographical issue that I'm more interested in, as I want to go as broad as possible, because now that we're given the possibility to actually do an internship, I'd like to possibly, we have 3 years of internships following from the following year, so maybe the shorter internship I'll keep in the European area. Maybe I'll go to England, maybe I'll go to France, I don't know. And wherever the opportunity opens, really. And then my dream would be, even afterwards though, maybe just create a connection either with Australia or South America, like in Brazil, because it's one of the BRICS countries, Brazil, so it's building, it's developing, and there could be a good future opportunity to work in as well.
Okay. Do you have any ideas? Well, I know in the first year you're kind of exploring everything, you're getting a feel for all the different subjects, but do you have a dream for where you might want to end up or do your internship?
I have an idea that I really want to go to the United States, back to the United States, and with my international background I'll be able to bring that to a more high performance area of that's what I was looking into. I'm not entirely sure what, but I know where and a basic idea of what I want to do.
Okay. And what sort of... I have a question come in. This is specifically for you here. How easy is it for Sicilians to settle in Amsterdam? Goodness.
Wow.
From Vito in Sicily.
What a question. Well, I wonder where he's from in Sicily, but anyways, I say hi to him. And I think, personally, that the Sicilian mentality, so like differently from the whole of Italy, we have a very open-minded, warm culture. So it's very easy to make friends if you open to people, even if Dutch people sometimes can be closed. But there's so many different nationalities here in Holland that it's extremely easy to find other friends. I have friends on my course. I found a job, which was actually quite simple for me, really, to find a job, as it's still an easy opportunity here for students, and there I work with many international people who I've made friends with very easily. There's a lot of Italians in general studying here and working here, like Italian restaurants and people. So maybe if you come from Sicily and you're looking for people that you can relate to home with, I think it's a great place to go, because you can find different cultures that are similar to yours or the same culture. It's fantastic. And yeah, I even have a bit of a dream to maybe open a restaurant, or a Sicilian restaurant one day with their specific things. But you know, that's learning. At first I've got to learn about the managerial skills, and then I can even apply them to that environment.
Yeah, we'll get back to the internships a little bit. What are the rules around internships? I know there are some specific rules. Is that something that you could speak to, Henry?
Yes, of course. In the second year you have to go for 10 weeks, third year for 15, and the fourth year for 20 weeks. And then you have to come up with 3 countries. So at the end you have to have visited 3 countries. And maybe you like to go to your own country, but there's of course a rule that you have to be outside your comfort zone at least for 2 times. So for example, we have now Robin Jonk in the third year, and he went to Dubai. There his father is living, his mother's living in Holland. So after Dubai, maybe he could go to Holland, but that's not possible because he already did Dubai in his comfort zone. So now I have to find out his 2 other internships in other countries, which is not in his comfort zone. So.
Alexi from Greece has actually asked about internships, and specifically kind of related to doing these international internships. That's obviously extremely expensive, but she's actually asked approximately how expensive is it for a student when they go on their internship. Is that obviously you guys haven't gone on your internship yet? It's difficult to say, but at the end of the day, what have you heard from the students that you're coaching regarding the costs?
Yeah, I have one example of Cas, also a very nice guy. He's going to Bali, and first he paid a local office to find an internship for him. Smart. I think it cost him €500, but in that €500. Every month he is there, he has that support. So, and for every month he's there, he's paying $250 for having an apartment and even a scooter. So it's not that amount of money. Of course, it's money, but if you look at this, and of course Bali can help. It's less expensive than New York, for example. So if you choose the right place, the costs maybe you can manage.
We're going to flip to a video now, I believe. The video is about internships, career perspectives. No, we're not going to flip to a video. I apologise for that. Right. What do we have to talk about? Finding internships. Can you tell us a bit more about the process involved?
Well, first you have to know what you want. That's the first step. And then you start searching, you start using your network. In Amsterdam, you have really good opportunities in this field because the city is so international. So everybody knows somebody in the sports industry, and obviously you can use teachers at school and just use search everything through internet, and there's so many opportunities. So in the end, it's up for you what you want to pick and what you want to do.
Yeah, obviously the internships are helping you with kind of figuring out then where you're going to be, where you want to be at the end of your, your study. So is that something that the internships can really help you figure out where you want to be after you graduate? Is that something that your students have proactively looked for in the internships that they're looking for? It guides them in the direction that they want to take after they graduate.
Yes, for example, Cas, he's an amazing sailor. So he's fighting for being part of the team regarding Olympic Games in Rio. So sailing is his life, and he is searching for internships, which will provide him the network in that world of sailing, and also provide him the chance to get a nice job out of it, and then for him at a strategic level, because he is able to score at the strategic level. So internships for him will help him immediately towards his achieving his goal.
Okay, and obviously the third year of ISMB is very much focused on strategy and entrepreneurship. How do you think those parts of the study actually prepare you then for your internships?
Well, the course has the name ISMB, and everything is about the B, business. But if you like to achieve the B, you have to manage the M of management. And you do it in the area of sports, and you do it internationally. So the B is what's all about. If you can create B for a non-profit organization or a profit organization, people will find out that you can make the difference. So it's all about making the difference. And in the third year, you will have that confrontation with what's here and what you can deal with in real life. And that gap you have to solve, because if there's no gap, you can transfer what's in your mind to entrepreneurial skills towards the B of business. And if you can do that, you can prove that also during your internship, the companies will love you because you're a youngster and you can make difference. So.
And you guys are obviously in the first year at the moment, and you've experienced one quarter so far. How are you seeing the transition, let's say, towards being able to make choices for your career and the direction that you might want to take? Is that something that you're experiencing so far in the first year?
Well, yeah. We still haven't covered all the subjects because the year is covered in quarters. So in the following quarter, for example, we'll be studying economics, which we still haven't touched as a subject, and I find is definitely important and interesting for the sports world, for the future. But definitely it's opened my mind more over what could be a certain field where I could work. We have three specific fields, which are high performance sport, sport development and sport commerce. And obviously the direction that you'd want to take depends on your personal characteristics. So if you're more, if you're more prone to be follow a high performance athlete, then you try and get into the Olympic system and maybe prepare somebody to go to the Olympics, manage him. Or, for example, I think I'm more in the sport commerce world. I like to promote, I like to be with people or create something that interests people and broaden it. Or, for example, even sport development would be fantastic to go maybe to underdeveloped country or where a sport is underdeveloped in a country and bring it up to a higher level, and that would obviously influence either the economics of the country and of the sport itself for the world.
Is that also something that you're experiencing with so far? The three directions that you can possibly take. What sort of subjects do you think are helping you figure out which direction?
Well, right now, like Luca already said, I mean, we haven't had economics yet. We haven't had some of the basic classes. But I do feel that because we mix sports and sports theory classes, that the sports we take give us an insight of what it is like. Experience all these different sports can always help us in the future. If we ever run into someone he plays rugby, like I now know the rules of rugby, and I can play. I'm able to see what the athlete sees, and I think that's very important. It'll actually really help us in the future. Yeah.
I think we might be ready for going to the video this time round. Right? So we'll be back very, very shortly to answer more of your questions.
Internships are the bread and butter of ISMB.
ISMB students go on 3 internships during the 4-year study.
So the second year internship is more focused on the operational level of management, and the third year of internship is more focused on strategic level.
The internships make it very international because with that you get the opportunity to work abroad within different cultures.
So for my second year internship I'm going to Dubai. I'm be working for the Real Racket Academy.
I'm going to work for the world's oldest football club, the Sheffield FC.
For my third year internship, I'm going to Joe's Diving School in Indonesia. And what I'm going to be doing there is putting together a marketing plan for them to expand to Asia.
I'm going to write a strategic sponsoring plan.
So my project will be to research if they can start it up in Australia also.
You get to grow as a person as well because you have to go there by yourself.
Well, we really pushed the entrepreneurial button.
We went to Switzerland, to Lausanne, and we went to London. And those field trips. They were very, very important because with that you really get an insight in what are we studying for, what can we become with this.
Because we like them to be successful in future as an employee, as a business partner, or as an entrepreneur.
So there's a lot of opportunity. It just depends on what you want.
So welcome back. So we're going to answer more of your questions now, specifically about some practical matters. We've had a question come in from Belint in Hungary. Brandy, maybe you can answer this one. How much time do you spend, learning and studying at home instead of being at school on the campus?
Well, I mean, luckily our classes are very, I can wake up at 10 in the morning, know that I have class at 11, and then go home around 4 o'clock, something like that. They're very easygoing classes. So I have the rest of the day pretty much to manage my own free time. I'll go home, I'll go do groceries and such, but I will spend, hours on the couch studying or reading through slides or, doing any kind of projects we have. On average, I can't tell you how much I spend on homework because it kind of depends on how close exams are and such. So, yeah.
And do you have time for a part-time job? Or?
I am currently searching for a job, and it's been hard, but I definitely think I can manage. Whenever I come out of school, I'll have time to go to the job and still fit a few hours of studying in between. I know Luca has a job, so he should know more about that.
What job do you have, Luca? How many hours?
I work as a waiter in a Algerian restaurant, and the hours depend on me really and on my boss, as it's a 0 hour contract. But I think last month I skipped 1 week and I worked 61 hours, so I've been able to fit a lot of work in. It was a bit, I overworked last month. But it was because I knew I would have been missing from work for the Christmas holidays because I decided to go back home. So I knew what I was going towards and I studied beforehand. But for the study hours instead, I think, the suggestion of the course, when you read on the internet of the course, it's kind of to go in a safe way. It should be about 20 hours in a week done on studying on books or studying over slides. Last time I didn't follow them exactly, but I think that's kind of the amount of time that I spend on books.
Okay, great to hear. So we have a question coming also about how tough is it to study in Amsterdam if you don't speak the language? But Luca, I know you're learning Dutch, aren't you? But how easy is it to live here and not speak the language?
It's all about throwing yourself into it. Some people might be shy. They might think that if people laugh about them or they look stupid if they don't speak the language, so they won't try and they'll never learn. Instead, the best thing is you're going to stay here for 4 years. Learn the language. It's always something extra for your personal career. If you apply for a job and you say you speak 3 languages instead of 2, that could make the difference. So I'm learning. I'm really focusing on trying to learn Dutch, and I'm not doing it through lessons. I'm doing it through practice with people, and that's the best way. They'll help me out, and I'll make them laugh.
And how many people in the class are actually learning Dutch then of the internationals? I'm curious.
I am, but for the rest, I think some people are trying more and some people are trying less. I really wouldn't know what the Dutch level of the other internationals is because I don't really speak Dutch with them because we speak English and at school the main language is English because it creates a greater bond in the group.
Okay, and if we talk about now the application process, was it complicated or easy, the application when you applied to ISMB?
Well, I found it pretty easy, to be honest. Basically, you just fill your CV, you fill the application, and then in the end you have two choices. You either come here to do the entry test, or you do it via internet. So basically, you film everything, like you do all the sports exercises, and then you send in the videos. But I would suggest that you actually come here to do the exam test because it's great experience to see everything here.
To do the selection process here in Amsterdam.
That's what I did.
So there's a question also coming from Hungary. Belinda, thank you very much for this question. What counts more in the application, the physical assessment test or the results of my secondary school education? Well, in actual fact, all of it counts, and it's weighted kind of similar. But Brandy, maybe you can give Belinda some information about what was the selection process. What did you go through?
Okay, so when I attended the selection day at the school itself, and when we first got there, it was sort of, we were sitting in a room, you know, all nervous because we're all doing something new. But we first sat in a classroom, we had to write motivational letters, or it was just about 2 questions, and you wrote a little essay about it, and just explain why you really wanted to be part of this program. And it's important, you know, that you are determined and are motivated and have the same goals that we see as an ISMB student. And I believe that went very well for me. Afterwards, the second thing we did, we had face-to-face interviews, and we got to speak to one of the lecturers and explain why we are here, why we're interested in the program, what really, you know, what's so special about you, like when you're applying. And it was nice because they really get to know you on a different level. And so
the Luca, the physical test is actually an interesting question coming from Hans. Thank you, Hans from San Francisco. How does this selection process work, specifically the physical test? And is there some sort of medical test as well?
Well, the medical test follows. First, you've got to pass the physical test and be accepted in the course, and then you will be asked to have a medical test here in Amsterdam that is to see if you're prepared or if your physique is ready for the course. But the physical test itself isn't too testing. It's not too hard to pass. I mean, I'm not a top athlete and I pass, but there's some people in our course that are top athletes. We have professionals or semi-professionals or ex-professionals.
Yeah, in fact, we have a world champion
of kickboxing. Frank Munoz from ISMB.
Okay, so he must have done pretty well at the beat test.
From Spain. Yeah, he was running next to me last year, I remember.
Okay.
And he beat me. But we're both here, so.
And we have two other international sports athletes as well on the programme, but you don't have to be a top athlete to get in, let's put it that way. So don't worry, Hans. We also have a question in what's the most challenging part of the study ISMB so far? Jona.
Hard to say. Most challenging.
Possibly internships. We've talked about that a lot today, haven't we? But
well, I would say that it's getting used to the tough rhythm of studying. You know, it all depends where you come from, what I'm used to. But here in Netherlands, you have to get used to that. You really have to study, and you have to work hard in order to get through the courses and get the points. So
bit of a shock to the system then.
Well, not for me because I'm used to it. In Finland, it's also pretty tough. But I don't know if you come from somewhere in Africa, maybe North America, no, South America. So it might become a shock. But you have to expect to. You have to prepare to study hard. That's for sure.
So that's the challenge. Was it a shock to the system for you?
It was much different because we have a different grading system. I went to American high school, and it was weird that I had to focus on getting grades from 1 to 10, and it was different adjusting. And the studying is much different. So I had to study much more, to read much more, and really learn more than I was used to. But it's a natural part of it.
But you're into it now.
Yeah,
you're in the flow.
I'm getting in there. Yes.
And Luca, you even have time to play football. You're in a football club, I believe. That's actually Dennis has asked a question here. Is there a football club I can join at the Amsterdam Applied Science University or outside of the school?
Well,
some sort of local club.
Yeah, I live in Erasmusgracht, which is in the video that you saw before, one of the videos was located in Erasmusgracht, so that's where I live. And there's 2 football fields and 2 football clubs just down there. I mean, it's very easy in Holland to join a club. Doesn't take much. I joined it kind of after a week that I arrived in Holland because I wanted to find something to do. But obviously, when I started working, I had to find time to either, choose either work or football. So it was going more towards work. But still, I'm finding time to enjoy myself and play football. Mainly when it's further away from exam weeks, because then the study load always increases during the months that follow. But yeah, it's really simple, I think. There's football clubs, boxing, whatever. A lot of my colleagues are practicing sports.
There are a lot of good sports opportunities in this city.
Yeah.
I mean, you can do everything here, anything.
Yeah. Henry, there's even a question directly aimed at you from Patrick from Geneva.
Yeah.
Henry, Mr. Weird, he called you. I went to the open day and the teachers presenting said that every year you need to create events. Can you tell me more about this process and some examples from the second and the third year around event management?
Of course. Well, what is an event? Normally an event we would say it's a one-day happening, but everything can be an event, Patrick. If you start up a campaign, that's also an event, working towards a one-day happening. So an event doesn't mean that you're always working with a one-day happening. But at ISMB, for example, in the first year, you will work towards that one-day happening. But in the second and in the third year, you get, of course, different assignments, and then you can choose. For example, in the second year, you have project management, and then you can choose for an event, but you can also choose for other challenges. In the third year, you have to work out your own business plan, your own business, and you have to execute your product and you have to sell it to people. So that's also an event, but not that one-day happening. But it can also be a sweater or a salad or a new football. That's up to you. You can create whatever you like.
And you guys, you actually created an event yesterday. You ran a badminton tournament. Do you want to tell us a little bit more about that, the assignment and what was involved?
All right, so we had about 15 students, about half of the class. We were assigned to hold a badminton tournament, and we were expected to, find participants to participate in the tournament. We were expected to provide for the entertainment, the food, the snacks. We had to manage the way, it would be set up, the tournament, and how they would play based on the number of participants and such. So it required a lot of delegating jobs to many people in the group. And
how did it go?
I found it great. I enjoyed it. The people that came had fun. They all really enjoyed the tournament. There was music. It was a good atmosphere. It was more about the environment than winning, but we still gave the winners, some goodies or some prizes or some vouchers. But we kept it really simple and just for the fun. It wasn't a high-level tournament. It was an amateur tournament, really amateur in the sense of loving the sport.
Yeah. And what sort of management skills do you think you learnt by being asked to run a badminton tournament?
First of all, time management, and definitely how to manage a group, because it was the first time we did something like this, so we decided to split different groups for different sectors of it. So a group occupied about participants, a group was managing and delegating jobs, so that's what other people did. Another group was maybe about the services that we would have given, the music, the looks of what the hall would have looked like, making flyers to promote the event. These were all new ideas that came to our mind. Or for example, even because we had to create an event from scratch, we had different ideas of what kind of event it would have been. Would it have been something in between two different courses on the school, challenging each other, so there would have been competition, or just like we did at the end, a fun event with people that could come from anywhere?
Great. I think we're going to take a little break. We're going to switch to a video. We've got lots of questions still coming in. I hope we're still going to be able to answer them in the last 5 minutes. So watch the video.
This is my room, as you can see, and I share this apartment with 3 other guys from our program. We share a kitchen and bathroom. We have a big dining room, so it's very nice to socialize. We have a big balcony, so on the warm days we always go out and have dinners together or something. Other friends from ISMB are living upstairs as well, so there are quite a few students living here. Amsterdam is a very international city. The fact that I don't know any Dutch and I'm not learning any Dutch is very helpful that you can get along without speaking the language here, because everyone speaks English. Meeting people is extremely easy because there are so many internationals that are always looking forward to meet other internationals as well. Well, in Amsterdam, I think the first thing everyone needs to do is to get a bike. This is the way you live in Amsterdam, or in Holland. Everyone has a bike, and everywhere you go, the fastest way is to go by bike. Public transport is very reliable, but it's definitely much quicker on the bike. So once you have the accommodation and you have the registration, and from there it's basically within 1 or 2 weeks you have everything settled.
Welcome back. We've still got lots of questions to answer and we don't have that much time. I'm just curious, how many of you have bikes? All of you? Yeah.
Yep.
2 out of 3, okay.
No, I have 2 bikes.
Okay, you have 2 bikes, all right. Kareem, thanks very much for another question. How many students are enrolled into the course each year? Jaap's joined us again, sorry,
Yes.
I forgot to say. So do you want to answer that one?
Yeah, for sure. Last year we have selected a group of 35 students, and actually if we have enough applicants we are going to start a second group. So that means 70 students. It approximately means that we select 1 out of 3, 1 out of 4. Okay. So hopefully everybody is going to apply and we can select quite a good group of candidates, divided over 2 classes.
We had 150 people applying last time, right?
Yeah. So well, we'll see what is going to happen.
Yeah.
The current population, as we arrived up to the 3rd year, is a little bit more than 70. So we have a question again from Hungary. Berlin, thank you. I think Jaap's already kind of answered this one. How many students are there in the class? But Brandy, how do you experience that, sort of the size of the classroom and how much interaction there is with between the students and between the teacher?
Well, it's it's a small community feeling. It's really cool that there are so many international students coming from all around the world, and we all share that, moving abroad. And we all share that coming to this classroom from a different country, and it's created a small little family. All of us, we know each other on a different level than, But it's very, I enjoy it because I graduated with a class about this size, and it was a small community, and we really get along really well together.
So there's also your experience from having come from Italy to Amsterdam. Is the size of the classroom, is that something that's different for?
I had a class of 28 when I was back in Sicily. Even the fact that how we studied was involving oral tests made it a lot easier for me, because there's a lot of practice to force us out of our comfort zone. Comfort zone is a key word for this course, as for some people, for example, that come from England, it's not as easy to speak in public because they do only written tests. Instead, as I was brought up in a system that, forces you to speak in front of people and to deliver a message to people, I didn't find it a big problem to join this class. How big it is didn't really make a difference. I prefer it being smaller because it means there's more concentration around a certain amount of people, and we can actually know each other more, because if the class were bigger, we probably wouldn't know each other as well. Yeah,
we hear a lot about this word community. ISMB is a community. How do you experience that, Jaap, that community feel?
Well, I think when you make a choice like this, moving from a country to the Netherlands, you're looking for this community. And sharing these stories is very important. Compared to the fact that you're in a building with approximately 2,500 students divided over 3 other programs, it means that it's important to find each other. And as one of the students in the video already said, everybody is speaking English. Yeah, that's for sure. But you have your own program, your own subjects, your own teachers. So that's where you're going to meet each other. Well, I just see your bracelet, look, as part
Which
of the ISMB one.
Yeah.
You have a few.
Yeah.
Well, there are sweaters now as a product of the 3rd year entrepreneurship period. So the community is important, and the students themselves contribute to find ways to do that. And as we are growing, of course, it becomes more visible, and we are really looking forward to that.
Yeah, so we're really looking forward to you all applying. All the application criteria and explanation is all available on our website. There's also been some questions around the physical tests and if you're injured, what that means. We have a ton of questions still that we haven't actually been able to answer. We do apologise for that. What we're going to try and do this next few days is to answer those questions and post those online. So we'll try and follow up with you guys. So I think we've answered an awful lot of your questions today. Thank you very much, you guys, for being available to answer them. And please make sure that you apply online at thejavier.nl/ISMB. And we really look forward to you joining us in the next year. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Ciao.